And welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Wherever you are, however you are listening, we thank you very much for spending some time with us. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe to our channel. Leave a good comment, a bad comment. We take them all. Doesn't matter too much to us. Paul Farrington joined alongside Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and the best executive producer in the game, Zach Bloomquist, and a very special guest today. You may know her from MLB Network, NBA TV, or PointsBet. She's all over the place. An absolute stud in sports media from Rockland County, the prop queen herself, Ariel Epstein. Thank you for coming on.
Round of applause, guys. Round of applause. Round of applause.
Oh, I am honored. Also, you threw in the Rockland County. I never get that one.
Right next door.
Yeah, new city that's in our backyard.
Yep, we're out here in Bergen County.
I do not still live there, by the way. So for anyone that's trying to stalk me, I am not there, and I don't even put my current address on anything. I still pretend that I live in New City. Joke's on all of you.
Yeah, go look in New City if you want to find Ariel. That's where you go.
I think it's a smart move.
How did you get the nickname Prop Queen? I was just wondering that when I saw it.
I used to be nervous to tell this story because it made me feel like I was... I didn't want people to think I didn't know sports betting. However, in 2019, I went over to a company that Jack knows well, Sports Grid. I didn't know much about sports betting as a sharp. I only knew how to think like a public Joe. In order to mask that, the only way I knew to get into the sports betting world without sounding like an idiot was to go through the props market. It was super new. It was only here on the East Coast in Jersey. Vegas doesn't care about props. Me and Nick Costos were the only two people that would go on shows and give out props. While all the other Vegas sharps are giving out spreads, money lines, totals, parlays, etc., we're talking props. I started going on all these shows and people would say, oh, prop queen, Ariel Epstein, because I only gave out props for so long until I really knew how to sound a lot smarter when it came to sports betting. Eventually I got there. It just took a little bit more time. So prop queen was born back in about 2020.
Oh, so just smarter than everyone else, got ahead of the game.
I remember the show we used to work with, there was a segment called K-Props, rolled a funny little stinger, and then Ariel would be like, it's time for K-Props, and it was... She'd pick out a pitcher, 2 or 3, certain K-prop, 4.5, 5.5, and that's how I remember it being born. And then I started tailing, and then she got better and better every day.
The K-props were the biggest thing. That's what really... I used to have people that I looked up to in Vegas. Dave Koken is one of the sharpest men in Vegas. He's got like an eye patch. He looks like your total Vegas guy. He's been betting for years. He DM'd me that year, Jack. He goes, Ariel, I've got to admit, you're sharp when it comes to K-props and baseball. I go, what?
Oh, yeah, I used to tail him all the time. We all did back at the studio.
Oh, wow. I mean, it helps you get off the public. Jack always calls me Public Paul before he introduced me how to actually bet.
Or a square. I mean, it's betting props is good, though. It's like sometimes you see better angles, especially in a game like the Super Bowl, right? Like a side could be tough, but you pick out a certain receiver, or in baseball, a certain player, and you can key on it a little bit more and kind of find the spot as opposed to picking a side.
Dude, for the love of God, just no parlays. No more parlays. I can't do it anymore.
And do not parlay props. I'll kill you.
Oh
no, yeah, no. That's a big no.
So we'll hand out the best parlay props at the end of the show. Just kidding. All right, so Ariel, as we see with your sweatshirt right there, you're a very big Baltimore Ravens fan. Earlier this offseason.
I've got the helmet.
Oh, you got all of it there. And unfortunately, we were talking Yankees before.
Yeah, we
don't need to talk about that.
We don't usually have Ravens fans on the show, but we made an exception.
We made an exception. No Ravens, no Packers, no Patriots, but Ariel is the first Ravens fan to come on.
Jack's used to it. It's okay.
I'm used to it. It's all right.
So at the beginning of the offseason, the big question was whether or not the Ravens should sign or would sign Lamar Jackson to a big contract extension. Ultimately, 5 years, $260 million. I saw a few clips of you talking about that question that Baltimore had facing them. Now, in 2023, in August of 2023, at the start of this new deal, do you think it will ultimately be a good decision for Baltimore? Are you happy they went that route to sign him? Because some fans were a little nervous about such a hefty contract.
It's the best thing the Ravens could have done, especially from a monetary standpoint. You want to make money? You bring in one of the best quarterbacks in football. Lamar Jackson, my concern, I heard not so great things about him around the locker room. Not showing up to practice on time, not eating well, not following a lot of his regimen to keep him healthy. He's been hurt for 3 straight years when it comes to the end of the season. You get your team so close to winning a division, making the playoffs, you're not there in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson didn't even travel with the team to their playoff game. Those were all massive red flags. In the NFL, they say you got to do what you got to do to make your money. I'm still a firm believer in, regardless of how selfish you have to be in your contract discussions, even maybe not playing because you don't want to get hurt more, you show up to the game. Those things all bothered me. Yet what was the next best option if your team is built to win right now?
Yeah.
You have to get the quarterback that's built to win right now. The other thing with Lamar Jackson, the Ravens completely restructured their offense. They went from Joe Flacco, who's a pocket passing quarterback, to a mobile quarterback in Lamar Jackson, where you have to redo everything. You needed running backs that understand how tough play action is with a mobile quarterback like Lamar Jackson. Even your wide receivers, you got to worry about, is Lamar going to throw? Is he going to run? And when you change your entire offense to fit one quarterback, the quarterbacks the Ravens were going to have to look at, like a Derek Carr, you've got a pocket passer again. You got to change the whole offense again. That would have just been another 3-4 years of disaster, even if the Ravens tried to draft a quarterback, which they weren't in good draft position to do anyway. Signing Lamar was the best and smartest decision. Now it's up to Lamar to work for his money, make sure that he doesn't make any of those on and off the field issues happen again.
Yeah, I was saying on our last episode, Ariel, that Lamar, to me, is under the most pressure as a quarterback in the AFC North. Because this has been a team in the last few years in recent history, they've been good enough to go far, to go to the Super Bowl, to make deep playoff runs. But again, like you said, he hasn't been there in the playoffs.
His playoff numbers are bad, too.
He's gotten injured. Bad playoff numbers, he's gotten injured. And in a lot of people's eyes, including myself, the passing ability has not really been there. But now you bring in OBJ, you bring in Zay Flowers, who looks like he's going to be pretty good. He just got paid. I think it's a very big year for a team good enough to win the AFC North.
The Ravens are surely good enough to not only win the AFC North, the Ravens are good enough to win the Super Bowl. Trust me, I'm not saying that because I'm a Ravens fan. I'm very hard on my own teams. I bet the Yankees to not make the playoffs about 2 months ago. I will do it. I will come at you. The Ravens have to stay healthy. Their offense wasn't so bad to start the year. Their defense had almost every member of their secondary hurt. Everyone was passing all over them. The Ravens offense 2 years ago lost every running back to start the season. By week 1, the Ravens didn't have one of their 3 starting running backs, all gone for the year. Wide receiver like Rashad Bateman gets hurt every season. The only consistency has been Mark Andrews at tight end. Everybody else has been injured. If the Ravens offense stays healthy this year, in addition to getting your rookie Zay Flowers, who has apparently been incredible in training camp, which I don't care about training camp. Let me see what the rookie does on the field. The health is going to be the biggest factor for the Ravens. And of course it is for every team. Just the Ravens have been bitten by a lot of injuries, and it all does fall on Lamar Jackson.
So when we talk about predictions for the Ravens for this upcoming season, we saw a couple weeks back that it looked like you correctly predicted their first preseason loss in 8 years? Is that true? You predicted that?
Oh yeah, I saw the tweet.
A sixth sense about it.
There's something called just knowing when a line is wrong or fishy. The Ravens opened that game, and I think they opened up as a 3.5 point favorite. That line moved to pick 'em about an hour before kickoff. The Ravens were on a short road trip down to DC. They were in Washington facing the Commanders, so it wasn't far. The Ravens had some of their the same players in uniform that they had the week before. There was really no reason for the Ravens to have such a short spread, a line moving against them on a short trip. it all just looked weird. And Washington was playing in front of their new owner for the first time. The game just meant more for a team like Washington, who doesn't really have much to play for in a preseason game except ruining a record. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, but I saw the tweet about 2 hours before kickoff. Ariel Epstein tweet. I don't know.
I have it right here. Have a bad feeling about the Ravens lose. Have a bad feeling the Ravens lose tonight. Short spread, too much hype. All good things must come to an end. Cry emoji.
And then the game ended. You tweeted, "Yep, saw this one coming."
So when we look ahead now for this season, the Ravens are plus 210 to win the AFC North. Is that who you would bet on if you were to place a bet on the AFC North?
That's where the value is. I don't trust a quarterback in Cleveland like Deshaun Watson, who's barely played with this team aside for a few games. I don't really trust Kenny Pickett to make a division run. Maybe a playoff run, but I don't trust Pickett to make a division run. You got to have experience in the NFL to make it all the way down the stretch. Who better, if there's any kind of tiebreak situation, than the Ravens, who already beat the Bengals last year in Baltimore the first time they met in Sunday Night Football. The Ravens lost that second game to Cincinnati, and I think that was with Tyler Huntley. Mm-hmm. So, and that was even a close game. The Ravens almost beat the Bengals. I think Huntley turned the ball over in the fourth quarter. The Ravens have the value in the AFC North. They have all the potential in the world to win the division. I don't bet favorites to win divisions. There's just no value there, like for a team like Cincinnati.
Okay, Jack, you agree with that?
Look, Baltimore's a good squad. I obviously, if they can stay healthy, if Lamar can play to what Lamar can be, it's a good pick.
But you see Steelers at 470.
But I'm going to go with my boys at plus 470. Almost
but now Jack's making me sound like a homer, and I'm not really a homer. I haven't been. Like, this makes me feel terrible.
No, I know you're not a homer.
Well, Ziggy, you like the Browns at plus 400,
Ziggy
right?
Likes the Browns.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been on the Browns all offseason. I think we're going to see top 5 Deshaun Watson this year.
So we're all over the place here on the AFC North.
I just like. See, I'm a miser. I just like the biggest number.
No, you know what it is, Ariel? You know what you're talking about, and Jack's a homer. That's what's going on here.
If I had a gun in my head, I'm probably taking Baltimore too. But I believe black and gold.
But in the season preview, Jack, you had the Steelers going 13-4 this year.
14-3.
So, he's the homer. You don't got to worry.
Here's
about
the thing:
this.
you have a team who started the year last year 2-6. But
here we go.
TJ Watt was hurt for six plus weeks. Kenny Pickett didn't come in until week 4, and we ended up finishing 9-8. And now, if
listen,
you can take
the
that
AFC North is a gauntlet, no matter who it is.
Oh yeah,
The AFC North is one of the toughest, if not the toughest, division in all of football. Maybe the West can come challenge them a little bit this year in the AFC. Yet the AFC North has been the toughest division amongst all 4 teams for forever.
Our producer, Zach, is not happy. He's a big Dolphins fan. He is not enjoying this AFC East.
Yeah, he just gave a big...
So
You are right. The AFC East this year definitely can compete as well. That division is going to be tough. I just am not as high on the Jets as other people are. I don't fall for the Hard Knocks BS.
Oh, yeah, the Hard Knocks stuff. Before we get on to some other division winners, real quick, your prediction for Baltimore right now. Where do they end up this season?
In what capacity?
Is this a Super Bowl year? Do you think, if you just had to make a prediction on where Baltimore ends this season, are you feeling an AFC Championship run? Are you going to go all the way with the Super Bowl? And that's okay. I mean,
I could see the Ravens getting to the AFC Championship if they actually stay healthy. I think divisional round. I'd be disappointed with anything but the divisional round. They are fully capable, Baltimore, to make it to the divisional round. The AFC Championship game would be a successful season for the Ravens this year.
Yeah, I'd agree. I feel like they're one of those teams, they're either going to be really, really good or disappoint their fan base. I'm not seeing a middle ground this year. But I like what I see with Monken and all the reports out training camp. See, I buy into the hype. I get excited with training camp.
Ravens fans can expect AFC chip. Steelers fans can expect Super Bowl.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Okay, so Ariel, we each have one question for you now. If we go sort of around the NFL a bit, and we'll start with Jack, who has a question from the NFC East.
Yeah, so we'll keep it. I know we're in the New York and Jersey area, and I have a question here. I've been curious about this. So I want to get your thoughts. The New York Giants. Obviously, not even talking about a chance to win the division. That's the Eagles, and the Cowboys are better than them too. But a team who made the playoffs last year, now you bring in Darren Waller. They're a plus number, pretty big plus number, plus 172 to even make the playoffs. Do you think there's value on that? Yes or no?
Very
No,
direct.
I was thinking
Yeah,
about
get
this. The Giants overachieved last year. They had Saquon Barkley finally healthy at running back for a full season, aside for week 18. My concern for the Giants, their wide receivers. The receiving core has been banged up. You had Tony last year, and I'm trying to think who else was it that got hurt. Slayton?
Shepard got hurt.
Their whole
Didn't Martindale Robinson
everybody
get
in
hurt?
New York,
Yeah,
everyone for
everyone.
the Giants got hurt in their receiving core last year. The defense was really good against the run and terrible against the pass. You got to fix that secondary up. Is there value? Sure. The Eagles probably have a bit of a down year because every team in football who, aside for the Bengals and the Patriots in the last decade, has had a season worse than the season before when they're Super Bowl runner-up. Eagles are going to have a bit of regression. The Cowboys are actually a team that I would pick to win the NFC East this year. Because the Cowboys are good division winners. They're not a good playoff team. They're a good regular season team. The Giants have to get through both those teams twice, and that's really going to be a difficult task with the way the Eagles' defense was last year. The Giants had to rely so much on Daniel Jones' legs. I would stay away. It's not something that I would place a bet on. I just have too many question marks about who Daniel Jones is going to be able to throw to and if Saquon Barkley is going to actually have another durable year, which I hope he does because I drafted him in fantasy.
That's the thing with the Giants is you can have 4 losses right there. I mean, it should be 4. They'll be pretty big dogs in 4 of those
It's tough
games.
to beat those guys.
Yes, let's give 4 losses right there.
And the Giants won a ton of close games last year, which also means regression.
There was a luck statistic, and as a big Vikings fan, everyone talks about the 11-0 and 1-score games last year. The Giants actually led the league in the luck factor last year. It was a lot of bounces going their way. Bold to say that though, Ariel, with the New York media bearing down on you. Just be careful.
I'd say there's.
I have been going at New York teams all baseball season. If you think that football season's going to be any different, these New York fans have been chomping at the bit to get to football season since the All-Star break. That means they're going to be let down again.
It's all on the Jets. It's all on the Jets.
These are actually New Jersey teams.
Oh, that's right. That's a great point.
Yeah. But I think there's the only small value I could see is strictly only because the Giants are in the NFC as opposed to the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a world of the 6 or the 7 seed and go on the road again, and their ceiling is the NFC divisional round. But if they're in the AFC, there's probably 9 teams better than they are.
That's a great point about the wild card because you look at the NFC North, you've only really got the Lions and the Vikings in the mix. The South, probably just the Saints. The West, Niners, Rams, maybe Seahawks.
Maybe.
You've got probably a good chance of 3 teams from the NFC East making it into the playoffs.
And you like the Cowboys to win the division?
Value there. What odds do you have?
+1. I'm saying +175.
The second best to the Eagles, correct?
Yeah, Eagles -115.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't
that's
mind.
pretty
If
good
I
value.
had to take a non-favorite in that division, it would be the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't know if like Ariel said, I don't know if I'd want to mess with an odds-on division favorite either.
I mean, if Dak comes back and a few less turnovers, I mean, they were right there last year. Philly
You
was just
will
unbeatable.
never watch me bet a Super Bowl runner-up in a positive way.
I can't have the Eagles. I can't stand the Eagles, so I'm very happy to hear you saying this. They just drive me up a wall. Ziggy, where are you taking us with these division questions?
We've been talking about some strong divisions. I want to talk about a weak division now, the NFC West.
I warned her about this.
I mean, I feel like I'm losing my mind looking at these odds, right? You've got the 49ers at like -190, but I feel like there's a lot of value to be had of the Rams here at +1,000. They've got maybe 3 of the 4 best players in the division, right? The 49ers quarterback situation might not be all that. We saw second half Geno. I'm curious to get your thoughts here on whether you think the Rams have a real shot at winning this division if injury luck breaks their way a little bit.
The Rams at 10-1, great value to win the NFC West.
There you go, Ziggy.
I agree. I said this to Jack when he texted it to me. I said, ew, the West is disgusting. And said, I could throw a dart at the Rams at 10-1. You've got the same quarterback in Matt Stafford who led you to a Super Bowl, who lost by 3 points 2 years ago. You still have one of the best wide receivers in the league, Cooper Kupp. He'll get healthy. Van Jefferson, speedster. Tyler Higbee, a great tight end. And you've got a defense you've got a good safety in Jordan Fuller. You got the best defensive end in Aaron Donald. The Rams defense 2 years ago was one of the best in football. Again, injuries, yeah. And also you've got a head coach that's fighting for staying in the league. Remember, McVay was going to retire last season, decided, you know what? I'm young. I'll come back. Matt Stafford's wife says that he's having problems with his teammates, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe any of this preseason crap. Stafford led this team to a Super Bowl 2 years ago at 10-1. I don't mind it. And I told you guys that Super Bowl regression's real. The Rams had Super Bowl regression coming off of it. And now let's see them bounce back a bit. This division, you got a really good chance because I don't think it's going to be that strong, especially with the 49ers quarterback situation.
I'm like jacked up on the Rams now. I did not see that coming into this show.
Yeah, the most important position on a football roster is the quarterback. And if Matthew Stafford's healthy, I'm probably going to say he's the best quarterback in that division.
I think you have to.
Like, for sure.
Ziggy's right. Best receiver, too. Best defensive player, bar Nick Bosa, maybe.
It was funny, though. I texted. So Ziggy texted us. My question, Ariel, will be the Rams at plus 1,000. So then I texted Ariel, all right, we got some AFC North, NFC North, NFC West. She was on my NFC West is horrible, but I'll throw a dart at the Rams plus 1,000. I didn't want to tell Ziggy that because I wanted to see his reaction to Ariel agreeing with him there. So I found that kind of funny.
Well, it's good to see someone else is on the train, right? I remember reading Jordan Rodriguez put out a good piece earlier this year about how the pressure just got to the Rams. There was so much attention on them. They started slow. Guys got injured and things just fell apart. I think this year with no one paying attention to them, where I think they've got the third or fourth lowest win total in the NFL, I can absolutely see them bouncing back right quick.
Yeah, there you go. You got an answer that you wanted. We have two more for you here, Ariel. I'm going to go to the NFC North. I have to go with my Vikings division. And I've seen look, first off, I finally feel free from the Aaron Rodgers hell that we've been in, the Brett Favre hell since 1992, 1991. It's very relieving to not have to face him twice a year right now. Have fun with him, Zach. I'm sorry. I see Jared Goff, though, leading this division in the odds. The Lions are plus 145, and everyone's hyping up Detroit, the 8-2 finish to the season. And I see the Vikings at plus 260.
Including me.
And I think that's really good value because I'm a big Captain Kirk fan. I think he's the best quarterback in the division, maybe the second best quarterback behind Jalen Hurts in the conference. Are the Vikings the better bet in the NFC North, or perhaps you're on the Packers or Bears?
And I'm being called the homer. I'm being called the homer.
I guess I am a homer.
There's a difference. There's being a homer because you actually have value on your team. Then there's being a homer for being a homer. There is value on the Minnesota Vikings.
See?
You've got the most experienced quarterback in the division, Kirk Cousins. You've also got a quarterback that's unproven. I shouldn't say unproven. What has Jared Goff done for the Lions aside for overachieve last year, bring a team that was one of the worst in football to actually being respected? That's what Goff's done. Could he take a step up? Sure. Until I see it, don't care. Not putting my money on him. Why on earth are the Lions favored to win this division?
Thank you.
Their secondary has been atrocious for a decade. And the Vikings still have one of the best wide receivers in the league in Justin Jefferson. You've still got a quarterback with experience, Kirk Cousins. The Vikings defense scares me a bit. However,
oh yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
I'm going with the quarterback that I'd trust, which is Kirk Cousins. I still don't trust Jared Goff. And the Lions also have not won a playoff game since 1993.
The Lions have never won the NFC North. They haven't. They've never won since it was named the NFC North and went from 5 to 4 teams. They've never won the division. So that's
right. So why am I betting on a team that, aside for yeah, great, you guys are now respected. I look at the Lions how I look at the Diamondbacks in baseball. A team that comes in with everyone betting the over. Everyone loves the win total over on the D-backs this year. People think the Diamondbacks are making the playoffs. It looks really good all season until the veteran leadership progresses throughout the year and you see which teams rise to the top. The Diamondbacks on the outside looking into the playoffs at this point. They made it fun. Probably not getting in. That's going to be the Lions.
Ariel, the last 2 years, including this year,
oh, no.
I've had a Diamondbacks World Series future. Because I'm like, last year, all the Mad Bums.
We need to change your name.
Merrill Kelly.
Jack Public. They call him Joe Public. It's Jack Public now.
They heard it here first.
That was just so funny. I don't know if you know, Ariel and Ziggy both did the exact same thing at the exact same time.
So last year, then we'll get back to football in a sec. But last year, I'm like, oh, this team, they got some good pitching. The Mad Bums, Zach Allen, Merrill Kelly, like it could come together. Then this
How'd
year,
Mad Bum work out for you?
Horribly. But then this year they started strong. I'm like, oh, I might have been a year early. Let me hit him again in like June or July. And now here we go.
Yeah,
They're not going to make it.
You're not a baseball kid. Just no baseball bets. No baseball. Just listen to
next year.
Ariel and then wait for college basketball to start.
I do. I tell
for
the
your
paper.
own sake.
I'll just say I've got a bad habit of checking the comments in our videos, and there is nothing like Lions fans who continue to try and insist that Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Without fail, every single video where you talk about the Lions, they come in with some advanced stat
No, it's
that says
absurd.
Jared Goff's a top 5 quarterback. We'll see.
Yeah, you're right, Ariel. I don't even know if it can actually get. He was great at the end of last season, and it was a great year for them. I mean, 9-8, whoopee, you're over 500 for the first time. But I don't know if that can be sustained for an entire season. It's just asking a lot for someone we haven't seen that level of play from in a while.
If it can, great. I'm just not putting my money on it.
And the Packers, absolutely not, right? Just to throw a jab at Green Bay.
No Packers. Again, unproven.
Perfect.
You're below 500
Perfect.
even with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. I thought the Rodgers and the Packers last year would have made a lot more of a run in the second half, which they did. The wide receivers are so young. Now you've got a young quarterback in Jordan Love. Excited to watch, see what he's learned under Aaron Rodgers for 3 years. Same way Aaron Rodgers learned under Brett Favre, became one of the best quarterbacks in football history. Just not going to be the year for the Packers. But yeah, I'm excited to watch the young players, excited to watch the Lions. I love Dan Campbell at head coach in Detroit.
Oh, he's awesome.
I know that everything in gambling is uncertainty, so I hate that I have this saying. I don't like to bet on uncertainty, aka unproven players.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes total sense, and it's refreshing to hear someone come on and talk positively about the Vikings and put down the other NFC North teams. This is great.
I'd agree. That's if I was gonna to make a play on a team in the NFC North, the Vikings is probably where the value is.
People are gassing up Chicago too. I think Fields is the most bet on MVP candidate. So it's fun having uncertainty in the division, though. It's like for the first time in forever, anyone can kind of win it, and that's exciting to see. Zach, you have our last question here.
Yes, the last question, the most important one because
He's a Dolphins fan.
I'm a huge Dolphins fan.
Dolphins
So we're going to
fan.
talk about the almost said NFC, AFC East. We're gonna take out the Bills, right? They're plus 120, right?
Yes.
If you want to bet on them, go ahead. But out of the Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots, who are you choosing?
Jets plus
Dolphins.
250,
Oh,
Dolphins 290.
there you
Wonderful.
go, Zach. I thought for
Wonderful.
sure you were going to go Jets.
Me?
I thought so.
Yeah, we thought you were going Jets too.
No, that would
I thought you would have
me
gone
being
Patriots
public.
'cause that's the good pick.
I mean, the Jets is I'm going the Dolphins.
So
Also.
it's Jets plus 250, Dolphins plus 290, Patriots plus 800.
Throw a dart at the
Dolphins have
Patriots.
value at plus 290. I mean, obviously, like it's the Bills' division to lose. The Dolphins still have their quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, as long as he doesn't suffer any more concussions.
Uh-huh.
This team was what I think they were. I have to remember the number. I think it was 8-1.
No,
in
yeah,
games.
that was it when he played.
8-1 in games where Tua played and didn't have a concussion before the second half of the year. But that's how they started. You've got great wide receivers, and you've got a team that defensively got better because your secondary was your problem, and you get Jalen Ramsey now at cornerback. If I have to trust any offense outside of Buffalo, I'm trusting Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Running game is whatever, but Tua Tagovailoa is still pretty mobile on his feet. So yeah, with the addition of Jalen Ramsey in the secondary, improving that pass game, because they had a top 5 run defense, Miami. It was their pass defense that was terrible. Now you get one of the best corners in the league. He'll be in the slot. It does relieve some of the, I'm trying to remember who was in the slot last year who really struggled for them.
Howard?
No, Cater.
Howard on the outside?
No, Cater. Howard was on the outside. Cater.
Okay.
Kohu was in the slot.
Okay, so he struggled in the slot. So you're going to get a much better secondary in Miami. Plus, you've got Tua back. Hopefully, the Dolphins know to keep him out of any kind of concussions. So yeah, Miami would be where I would say you've got some competition, Buffalo, especially in the pass game. I mean, we saw just what Tua did to the Ravens a couple of years ago when they made one of those crazy comebacks.
That was awesome.
I died.
I was gonna bring it up.
But yeah, that's what they're capable of.
Yeah, but everybody, and look, for good reason, because the Jets have been starved for so long. Everyone's talking about Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson, and I think it's going to be great, for sure. But everyone seems to be forgetting that this Dolphins offense last year, at least to me, and I probably don't speak for just myself, looked like the best offense in football when Tua was healthy.
For a while.
I mean, it looked like it was unstoppable. You had Tyreek Hill, you had Jalen Waddle. I mean, it was great stuff. And at plus 290, pretty much 3-1, that's probably where I would go as well.
So wait, Ariel, do you like the Jets at all at plus 250, or do you think that they're going to flop?
No, I think that the Jets have a chance of flopping. The Jets, listen, everything looks amazing on Hard Knocks. It was the biggest, I'm trying to think of a clean way of saying this.
Oh, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever.
I try not to have video evidence of me talking badly on air. But it was a really big, like, stroking of Aaron Rodgers' ego, this entire Hard Knocks.
well said.
And now you're going into a season with a team that is not used to winning. If the Jets get off to any kind of rocky start, if the Jets start losing a couple of games, how does Aaron Rodgers' demeanor change? Now, listen, I've got people inside the Jets organization. They love him. There is nothing wrong with Aaron Rodgers yet with the Jets organization. It is great. They love him, says he gets to know the whole organization, knows every person, he's involved. When losing starts, if that happens in New York, Aaron Rodgers reminds me a lot of Michael Jordan. They're winners. They're Hall of Famers. They know how to get the best out of everyone around them. Can everyone around them give them the best that Aaron Rodgers wants? Saw that in the MJ documentary. People hated playing with him because he expected you to go all in with him. And people, even at the NFL level, don't have that kind of mindset all the time. And if that doesn't happen and Rodgers gets frustrated, how much does this team fall off in year one?
Yeah, and it's a hard start to the season, too, for the Jets. I mean, those first 6 weeks are what? You have Buffalo, Kansas City, Eagles.
The beginning of their season is one of the toughest, and the end of the season is one of the easiest for the Jets.
So you just got to survive that opening portion.
Do you, Ariel, I've said this a few times on this show, do you view the Jets a little bit like a team who has a black cloud and a little bit cursed? Like we saw with the Browns,
the Lions.
The Browns a few years back. You know, you had Chubb, you had Denzel Ward, you had OBJ. I think they were the AFC North favorites. Everyone was super high on them, and I think they went 7-9 or 6-10. Like, do you see a world where the Jets, just being the Jets, things can go wrong, or is that you're not believing that?
Not for the Jets. The Browns, yes. The Jets, they made it to the AFC Championship with Mark Sanchez as their quarterback. Come on. No, they're not jinxed. They're just bad.
The Vikings might be jinxed.
I'd say the Browns are for sure jinxed.
I feel, yeah. A couple more things for you, Ariel. We heard you had a fantasy draft, and you mentioned it earlier that you took Barkley. We were just wondering, where were you picking in your draft when you landed Saquon?
Oh my gosh, guys, this is not even a great draft example, because for the first time ever, I decided to enroll in a guillotine league. Not sure if you guys have heard of a guillotine league before. Do you know what it is?
I haven't heard of it.
Never heard of it.
You guys are going to end up wanting to do this now. A guillotine league is 18 teams, and you just can't be the worst team of the week. If you are the worst team of the week, you are kicked out of the league, and your entire team goes on waivers. You've got $1,000 of fab money that you can use to pick up that team's players on waivers. So you really just can't be the worst team in the league each week. So it starts 18 teams. So this draft took a little over 3 hours last night. I was dying. I was picked 13.
Well, you're really big in fantasy, right? Like, you love fantasy sports.
Yes, I've always loved it. I've just tried to get away from it a little bit because it's a lot of work doing fantasy and betting every week.
Yeah.
I'm actually in double the amount of fantasy leagues this year than I was last year, which I'm probably going to hate myself for. Hey, listen, the guillotine league, I could be kicked out week 1. Who knows? But it's very difficult because I do fantasy. I also do a few pick'em leagues. I do survivor contests. and I do just my normal game by game sports betting. So it's a lot to keep track of. I feel like Sunday, even if I'm not at work, then I'm working from 7 a.m. until and I mean, I do place a lot of my bets Fridays and Saturdays because that's when you're going to get the best numbers. For people that like props, try to bet any overs Friday or Saturday. Wait for your unders on Sunday and hope that the line moves in a direction. Like the public loves betting overs, so most likely you'll get a better number on Sunday for betting an under. But sometimes I just like the number so much, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go bet it right now. Because the market is going to move come Sunday.
Some wise words from the prop queen herself right there. You heard it here first on the Paul Farrington show.
So do you have like a main league is there a main draft that you're ready for? Like we have a league, Jack and I, where it's all our friends from high school. We've been doing it for 10 years. Like that's the draft that we're all keyed in on. Has that one happened for you yet? If you have a league like that?
Next week, I have on Monday the league that I've been in the longest for. And it's not like really, it's my two good friends and their dad's friends, which I got into about 5 years ago, but it's probably my bigger fantasy league. Then I have my family league, which is all for bragging rights, and the winner gets a jersey. I got invited to some all-girls fantasy league this year for the first time. Half of them don't know what the hell they're doing. So that's going to be really intriguing. And the Guillotine League will be fun. But I really don't do too many high-stakes fantasy leagues anymore, just because I do put a lot more money into survivor contests and pick'em contests each week. I do really fun pick'em contests where each week, if you pick the most spreads correctly, then you're the winner of the week and you get like basically your money back.
Oh, yeah. I've done a few of those. Those are fun.
Yeah, you pick 5 or 7 spreads depending on the league. And I like doing those because it gives me a lot more to root for, where even though I have money interest in, it's like I'm picking 5 or 7 bets that I didn't necessarily put money on each bet. But I will, like my favorite like 2 or 3 spreads of the week, I obviously put money on, and then I put a half a unit on each of the props I like.
Nice. Well, fantasy football, we love doing it. Jack last year unfortunately lost the league, so he has to run a beer mile.
How many titles do you have, Ariel? How many times have you won a fantasy league? Do you know? Is it a lot?
I've been playing fantasy sports since I was like 11.
No, I mean, so
so you would think that Jack has won a league.
I have 0 titles.
Oh, that's sad. No. I've won a few baseball leagues. I've won a few football leagues. But it's hard. I'll give you that, Jack.
Yeah,
what's a beer mile?
It's hard for Jack. A beer mile is so you go to the track.
No, I'm gonna opt out.
You chug a beer, run a lap. Chug a beer, run a lap. So you do that 4 times. And unfortunately, Jack, I don't see it going well for him, knowing his drinking history.
I can't physically do it.
So at least he has a friend. He'll have a friend running with him.
But
yeah, the last year's losers also joining me. And as well. So.
Okay.
All right, Ariel. So before we wrap up, we have 2 things for you that we are very excited to hear your reaction to.
My computer's on 11%, so I'm hoping it doesn't die.
Yeah, we'll fit this in. Tail fade or lay off. It's a game that we made up. In like FMK, we're playing tail fade or lay off. Whose bet would you tail? Who would you fade? Who would you lay off? Jack versus Ben Stevens versus Kevin Walsh.
Oh my! Well, I mean, I'm obviously fading Jack.
I told you fade me was like minus like 500.
Wait, what is it? Tail fade.
Just lay off. Just like who are you? Like all right, like I'm just gonna stay away.
Yeah, stay away.
Don't hate it.
So Jack, you're actively fading.
So like me, you're fading.
Yeah, I'm fading Jack.
And that was a given. No second thought to that.
I came down to that. I'm like, oh, I'm the fade.
Damn, it depends on the sport. Like I would tail Kevin in NBA, and I would tail Ben in college football. So that's really difficult. It all depends on the sport with them. They've got their strengths and weaknesses.
So basically,
I'm just a fade in everything.
Yeah, so basically, Kevin.
That's
you can listen to Kevin.
I mean, of course. You're a Pirates fan. What else can I say?
I did have a Pirates futures as well.
Yeah, you did. You asked me. He actually had the balls to text me and say, "Hey, what do you think of my Pirates World Series future?" I go, "You're an idiot."
She was on air. I texted her I had a division bet. I had a division bet, a National League bet, and a World Series bet.
She probably tried to keep it together on
I said to him, I go, Jack, just bet this team on the money line until they go cold. He's like, I got
he gets suckered in every single year since we were like 5 years old.
I was all in. I was
but it's okay because guess what? Jack had really good handicaps on the morning after on Sports Pitch for a while.
That said,
Every time he gave out the stupidest analysis, it somehow hit.
I mean, that's why she's a professional.
this is perfect.
So, Ariel, with that said, we do have one big surprise for you.
I'll be right back.
Jack told us, Jack has something to go do real quick.
Oh
Jack told us.
Should I go run and get my charger? I'm on 9%.
No, I think we can finish this. Finish this here. Jack told us you were the first person, maybe the biggest advocate, to get the Jack Cap of the Week on air at SportsGrid.
Yes.
So with college football, week 1 is right around the corner. We were thinking there's really no better time for the first Jack Cap of the Week to be premiered on the Paul Farrington Show. And
I love it.
We do know that you are the prop queen. So we're introducing the Cap King, Jack Weinberger, with his first Cap of the Week.
That's me. I am the prop king. This is my debut though as the Cap King. Got my headphones on here. Sorry. I'm like, wait a minute. I feel kind of
headphones over the crown with the sunglasses.
I'm like, I feel kind of empty here. Can you still see the crown?
You're good.
I mean, we get Ariel for one show, and then she's never coming back.
So we had to make a.
We're trying to get the most out of it. All right, what's the opening cap of the year?
Debut as the Cap King, though. I mean,
yeah.
So here we go. Cap's back. The other day, Ariel, I was trying to get back in shape. I was going for a run, and my first run in a long time, and in my headphones, I was playing the Rocky theme song. Because, like, nowadays, that's the only song I can really listen to and get motivated enough to run or work out. And the composer, the artist of that song is a man named Bill Conti. He's 81 years old now. Love Bill Conti. If it wasn't for Bill Conti, Jack Weinberger wouldn't be working out and staying in shape. So thank you, Bill Conti. Now, Bill Conti, he went to college way back when at the Louisiana State University, also known as LSU. So, the Jack Weinberger Cap of the Week to kick off 2023 as the Cap King. Give me those LSU Tigers on the money line this weekend. Labor Day lock, -140. Some sweet revenge on those Seminoles.
There we go.
Give me those LSU Tigers.
All right, now you gave me some rooting interest, Jack. I'm ready.
You did this,
Ariel.
Ariel.
Will you be telling?
Oh, yeah, will you tell?
Will you
or is this an
telling?
instant fade to FSU?
I'll tell for fun.
You know,
Let's do it.
she's logging off and
But here's the thing, Jack. If it loses, I'm never ever talking to you again.
Oh, that's my mistake. I know it's gonna win.
We're gonna go on Twitter tomorrow, and we're gonna see Ariel being just in front of camera on PointsBet. Like, I have FSU this weekend. It's a lock.
Trust me, my friends do it to one of my friends all the time. I'm at 3%, guys. I don't want to die.
That's perfect. We'll wrap up right here. Thanks so much, Ariel, for coming on. We appreciate it. If we can squeeze out one more percent, do you want to say where people can watch you for whoever's watching and listening to this podcast?
PointsBet Sportsbook on all the different podcasts, depending on the sports season. My baseball pod is Bases Juiced. MLB Network I'm on. Fridays with Mad Dog now at around, it'll be between the 11 and 12 p.m. hour. And then NBA TV come basketball season.
There you go.
Awesome.
There's no one better. She even timed up so that her computer would die right at the end of the podcast. It was absolutely perfect. Thank you, Ariel, so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll see you guys next week on the Paul Farrington Show.